Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Market Targets. And this week is looking nice. This week is looking nice and busy. This week we're going to make some money, that's for sure. This week we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 pairs I'm looking at. 10 pairs for the week. All right, let's get it started. I'm going to start off with AUD CHF, CAD CHF, NZD CAD, NZD USD, USD CAD, USD JPY, and Euro CHF. And then I'm going to go on to GBP CHF, NZD JPY, and Euro EUD, which are three other pairs that I'm also watching, but not as interested in the first seven I had said. Starting off, I'm going to be explaining AUD CHF, why I'm considering taking a trade this week on this Forex pair. And let's get started with the weekly time frame. As you can see here on the weekly time frame, this is the most concerning time frame for myself, at least, just because I see that the weekly has already had a good trend run going to the upside. So I'm guessing it's going to be needing a retracement at one point. Hopefully, it's not this week because I am looking for a long on this one. If you go to the smaller time frames, you're looking at how the structure is pretty much playing out. And as you can see here, this CAUD has pretty much been going on a straight trend to the upside for a while now, and I'm believing it's going to continue the same exact pattern. As you can see here, these slowdown candles rejecting the support level are perfect. You get a doji right here that ended last week, which is a perfect doji pin bar to get the week ended, just so you could start off fresh for this week and looking for a long. And if you go down to the smaller time frames, this is what I'm talking about right here. Look at this 4 hour. This 4 hour is shaping up to have an inverted head and shoulders. If you guys don't know what inverted head and shoulders is, the same thing as a head and shoulders, just the opposite way. You see here, invert the scale, boom, boom, boom. This shoulder right here isn't as clean, but let's just test this out with this indicator. Boom, 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 boom. Beautiful head and shoulders. Right now, I'm just waiting for it to just cross this alert. And once it crosses that alert for me, I'm most likely going to be looking for a long. Wait, let me invert the scale real quick so you guys can see the actual picture. Alrighty. So right here, as you can see, I love how the structure is playing out to be, and on the 2 hour as well. I first want this 4 hour structure to break right about here, and then for the 2 hour to also break right here. If the 2 hour doesn't break and the 4 hour does, I'll still consider entering. But after that, if you can see the smaller time frames, they already pretty much shifted up to the upside, the 30-minute and the 1 hour. So right now, I'm just waiting for the 2 hour or the 4 hour for me to just get right into this long. The first one of the week, I think, is going to be AUD CHF. So keep a lookout on that one. Next up, I'm going to explain CAD CHF. CAD CHF, let's go straight to the weekly. Let's always go from the higher time frames. Lower just makes it easier. Here, I'm looking for a buy on this one. Same thing as with AUD CHF. Pretty clean off this rejection on the support level. So looking at the weekly, it's looking like it still needs to get a push to the upside, even though that you can see here had an awkward ending last week with a pin bar looking rejection of this resistance level. But looking back at the daily, I believe it just needed a retracement in order to keep going to the upside. So I'm still going to trust this trade to bounce off the support level to go up. So that's why I'm considering a long on this one. Right here, we see here, I already have an alert set up at around the 0.57560 area. And if that crosses, I might consider entering this trade. I might not. It just depends on the smallest time frame that I look at, which is a 30-minute or also a 15-minute. If I get across this area right here, I'm going to be looking for an entry. All right, so moving along now to NZD CAD. NZD CAD, I want it to go to the downside. I want a little revenge trade this week from last week. As you can see here right now, it's going and rejecting this resistance level like how it did last week. I'm expecting it to reject it once more time and go to the downside. As you guys know, last week I took an L on this one after I was waiting for it earlier in the week. I missed out on this move, and then I decided to see if I could get another move on Friday, and I did not after some news hit on the opposite side of the trend for myself. But moving along now, as you can see to the smaller time frames, I'm wanting to now, if this closes to the upside like this, I'll move my alert down here. And if it crosses this area, I'll be looking for a trade to the downside. But if it does not close above this structure right here, I will move my alert right where it's still at right now and wait for it to go up under this structure for me to consider entering, just because I feel safer that way in order to enter this trade, especially since I lost it last week. Moving along now to NZD USD. NZD USD, I'm also looking for a short on it. If you go here to the weekly is right now bullish, but I'm looking for an counter trend trade on this one. So if you go over to the daily right now is also bullish, but it's rejecting this resistance level pretty hard. It's been rejecting it pretty much for almost 2 weeks. Let me just see. Yeah, pretty much 2 weeks. It's been rejecting it, maybe a bit more. So I'm thinking it's going to break through to the downside and just get out of there. But I'm going to wait for a bit more confirmation on NZD USD just because USD pairs, I tend to always wait a little bit just because they're so volatile. Next up, I'm going to go straight over to USD CAD. USD CAD, I'm looking for a long on it. If you see here on the weekly, it's rejecting this support level and it's on a bullish run. So I'm pretty sure it's going to need a retracement right about now. If it didn't do it last week, should do it this week. So let me see here on the daily. The daily is definitely bearish, definitely bearish. So it would be risky, but look how the week ended last week. Look at this little pin bar right here. This pin bar is a great confirmation for me that this might be going to the upside. Right here, boom, the 4 hour is ready to go up. Let me go to the 2 hour. 2 hours ready to go up. 1 hour ready to go up. 30 minute is also ready to go up. So right now, to be honest, I would just wait for this candle to close tomorrow, or even just wait for New York session to New York session to hit. And if New York session hits and this starts moving to the upside, I might consider entering this trade. So keep a lookout on this one for tomorrow morning, if not for tomorrow night. All right, moving on to USD JPY. USD JPY, I'm looking for a sell on this one. So let's go short. If you see the weekly right here, the weekly is already doing a retracement, which I pretty much just wanted to keep doing a retracement, maybe until this area hits right here. That's probably where I want it, pretty much a wick fill right here. And going to the daily, daily had a big push to up to the downside last week on Thursday. So right now it's under this resistance level. I wanted to actually resist it, and I need more confirmation in order to even consider entering this trade. Just because this is so bearish from last week, I'm probably gonna need more structure. So I'm gonna explain this to you guys real quick. I'm gonna be looking for this structure to break above here for them to pretty much have it break under this structure one more time in order for me to consider taking that trade, just so I can have more confirmation that it wants to go to the downside, because I actually don't have the best of luck with USD JPY. It's one of my like worst pairs I've actually traded. I don't think I've only won one time out of the 5 times I've traded this pair, and that for me is obviously a low percentage. So I'm gonna be extra careful on this trade, but it's definitely looking good to the downside. Next up is Euro CHF. Euro CHF pretty much did the move to the downside that I predicted last week. And I'm thinking of a continuation this week because, as you can see here, it completely engulfed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days with one candle. And that for me is a great indication that this is a strong push to the downside. And right here, if it goes under this resistance level, bounces and goes right back down, I'm pretty sure that that's what is going to happen, and that's why I'm going to be looking for a short. Oh, sorry, let me go back here. To be honest, for me, it's almost ready to enter, but let me look to the smaller time frame. Yeah, pretty much I need it to cross down to this area right here, and if it does that, I might enter this one tonight. So let me move this one up top over with AUD CHF. So AUD CHF and Euro CHF are the two ones that I'm most interested in trading for tonight. So I'll keep a lookout on those. Next up is the ones I'm going to be watching for the week. Not too confident in trading them, but I do like them. GBP CHF. GBP CHF, let's go over to the weekly. The weekly right now, it is bearish and it's been resisting this area on the daily with the weekly time frame. So as you can see here, it hasn't want to break over this, but I do want a long on this. So it's a bit risky. That's why I'm just watching it, just because I'm uncertain of how it's been consolidating on the weekly in order for it to go to the upside. But if you see here, it's a clean retracement over to the support level for it to just give us more confirmation to go to the upside. I really like this to go to the upside, so I'm going to be watching it. I might move this later on over to this part of my list just if the structure gets better and I get more confirmation. Next up is NZD JPY. So NZD JPY, I have it going on a long as well. So let me see here how the weekly looks. For me, the weekly looks like it's forming a perfect inverted head and shoulders. So I'm expecting for this to be the shoulder to make it go to the upside. If it doesn't go to the upside completely this week, it might happen the week after. But I'm pretty sure this is a 1 to 2 candle trend that it's going to start here. As you can see on the daily, pretty much went to the downside and it's been rejecting pretty much this structure right here, so it could go up, but it's pretty risky since this is bearish. And on the 4 hour, same thing. I pretty much put an alert all the way over here because I need this to go all the way up here, then retrace for me to even think about entering. So I have it on my watch list because I'm asking too much of the market. When I ask too much of the market, I rather put it aside, because when you ask too much of the market, usually it doesn't give it to you. Next up is Euro AUD. Euro AUD, I don't like it as much just because I think it's going to go to the downside, obviously, but I don't like the level it's in right now. It's at a level on the daily where the daily likes to bounce up, but it also wants to bounce down. So right here, if it goes under this level, I'll consider selling. I know this pair pretty well. This is my favorite pair actually. I've won pretty much almost every time I've entered. I've only lost this pair once, so I'm pretty good at predicting it. I'm predicting it's gonna go to the downside. At least give you one move, at least a 1 to 2, or maybe a 1 to 1.5 for the week. So I'm watching it. I'm actually gonna move it above NZD JPY because I feel like it might be cleaner than NZD JPY for the week. But let me know in the comments down below if you guys think that this is going to keep going to the downside, because this is the only pair that I'm most uncertain about. So I want to get your guys' opinion. With Euro AUD, that pretty much concludes the list of pairs that I'm interested in trading for the week. And guys, we're going to be busy this week. It's looking like a busy week, and I like it when it's busy. When it's busy, that means we're going to make money. And I want you guys to let me know in the comments below how many of these pairs do you think I'm going to be predicting correctly. I want to know what you guys think about my predictions. We have about 10 pairs we're going to be trading this week. I want you guys to tune in on Friday for another episode of my other series, which is Target Checks, to see how many of these pairs I entered and I guessed correctly. With that being said, that ends another episode of Market Targets. Thank you guys for joining.